Hey Transtastic, my name is Luke, and this week's topic is our political ideology. Ooh, controversial topic. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about this. I would say that I lean towards the left. I wouldn't say I'm someone that engages a lot with politics. I would say my political understanding, or the understanding of politics of a country, Australia, and I would say to a similar extent the States, is that I don't really know too much about the ins and outs of running a country, social rights, and social justice. That's probably what I care most about when it comes to politics. I don't feel like I am educated enough on politics to have a firm decision. When it comes to social justice, I would say I'm pretty liberal, but for other things like economics and other things like that, like just there are so many things I don't really know where I want the money to go, and I don't know how to divide the money, and I don't know what we should do. Besides, I don't think that the way it's set up now is good, and I think that things need to change. But besides that, I don't really know too much, and so I don't want to make a decision and say I feel a certain way and that I follow this particular ideology when I don't know enough about any of this to really have a firm opinion. Obviously, I care a lot about trans rights, I care a lot about human rights, I care a lot about people feeling safe, I care a lot about people getting healthcare that they need, and I care a lot about people being protected, and I know that there's also a limited amount of money, unless things seriously change, and I don't really know how they would properly change. I guess more taxes, but in some situations I'm also kind of like, but that's really difficult to organize. Like, I feel really nervous or anxious talking about this because there are just so many things I just don't know, and I really just don't feel comfortable enough to have a firm stance, and I guess, yeah, you can call me ignorant. I know what I care about. When it comes to voting season, I vote based on that. In Australia, we're very lucky in that we have a preferential voting system, so I don't need to make the decisions like you would in the States. So because of that, I feel like it's not as polarizing, but also the States at the moment is just very polarized. So I guess for me, like with Australian politics, I don't know too much about the differences between certain things. You know, for a very long time I thought Labour and Liberal were the same thing, because to me they just felt like the same thing, because all I see is them fighting at each other and saying that this party hasn't done this and this party hasn't done this and da-da-da-da. I realize now that they're very different. I should probably make this clear that in Australia, our conservative party is called the Liberal Party, which is really confusing if you're just getting into American politics from Australia. But when I say that I am not liberal, I mean that in terms of Australian politics. And when I'm talking about liberal in the sense of American, I say I'm leaning towards the left, because it's basically the same thing. Or at least that's how I think, because I don't know enough about politics. I care about social issues. For me, that is the most pressing thing, but that's also because I don't have a full-time job, and that's because I'm still studying, and that's because I don't really know too much about taxes. I don't really know much about most things in life. I'm still very new to the whole adulting thing, and so for me, the only thing that really tangibly affects me is social issues. So because of that, I know where I stand with that, and I know which parties represent my values for that. But I don't know if they represent my values for other things that I don't know about myself that I care about. I don't really feel like I can endorse a certain party, or I can say that I follow a particular ideology, because I could be really wrong. And the only way I really say that I lean towards the left, and the only way I really know all that, is because I've done political compasses, and it tells me where I sit. I know what my values are, but I also don't know enough about the rest of the things that go into politics. I also understand why people might vote for other things, or might sacrifice that social things if they find other things more valuable, important, and influence their lives more, you know? I guess the take-home message for this is the only way you can understand politics better is to be more educated, and I guess I just need to be more educated on it. I feel like politics doesn't play as huge a role in Australia as it does in the States. I feel like every second thing in the States is about politics, whereas in Australia, a lot of it is, okay, a lot of it's about politics as well, but like, it's not to the same extent. I feel like a lot of it is like Democrats v Republicans, and it's just sort of like, I'm pretty sure we don't have another election for another couple years, so I've got some time to like really properly work out what I want and what I stand for in terms of the other things that I'm a little bit unsure of. You know, for me, I think mainly a lot of the things I get confused about are things like to do with taxes and things to do with where money goes. Because for me, I don't make enough money to really comprehend that. I don't get taxed because I don't make enough money to be taxed. So because of that, I don't want to say I don't care as much, because I don't care about where my money goes, but it's more just like, it's just something that I haven't had to think about, because it's something that hasn't affected me, because it's something that I just don't deal with. I care about my education not being super expensive, but I also understand that education comes at a cost, and, you know, it's kind of shitty, but that's sort of how it is, and I guess I want to change that, but at what cost? Money doesn't come from nowhere, so at what cost would making my education cheaper be for other things, if that makes sense? And I'm not asking like a genuine answer here. At the moment, I'm not really feeling like I need to have a conversation about this, and it's not something that I'm really feeling like I want to talk about, but these are the things I think about when it comes to politics that I feel like aren't really as explored as much, or at least I'm not exposed to it as much, because in the young demographic that I talk about, when we talk about politics, or at least the people that I talk about politics with, it's very much in a social issues thing, because I don't really talk about anything else like that. And I guess that just comes from me. I don't study politics. I don't really do too much about that. And most of my friends are in science. So we're all kind of in the same boat. We all kind of just don't really know what the fuck's going on. Call it ignorant, and I guess it is. But I guess that's my opinions on politics. I don't know. I hope this topic doesn't get super heated or, like, controversial, because I know politics can. Alright, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.